at a time when it wasn't a situation where Flair was going to elevate the others. They were already on that plateau, and it was four guys, and myself included, that really did enjoy our time around each other. You know, we all had individual personalities, and we were not all the same, but we enjoyed being around each other. We enjoyed working hard. That's a big part of it. And, you know, we went out and had our share of fun at night, and it wasn't like somebody got a few drinks under them and then, you know, animosity came out. We very seldom had harsh words. We would maybe argue about a finish or a match or a program and maybe not always be in total agreement, but we all had the same agenda in mind. We all wanted what was, as Tully said earlier, what was right for the business. And it really was. It was a magical time in the business, and I'm just thrilled that I was there and could be a small part of it.
Once again, we do have Tully, Blanchard, as well as J.J. Dillon, two of the legendary members of the Four Horsemen aboard the Monday Night Mayhem airwaves right now. We did want to get to some of the questions from our listeners via our email and our MySpace page. Tully, I'll start off with yourself on this particular question. You know, there's been a lot of speculation that Ric Flair, just fresh off of his now debut on SmackDown, could be having, and I use the term could because obviously with, you know, Ric Flair, you really can't believe the word can't, but could be having a retirement match at WrestleMania 24 in Orlando, Florida. There's also been some speculation of having Rick go into the Hall of Fame. Now, I know on a couple of past editions of the Mayhem, our program, we've been talking about who would make a good addition to the WWE Hall of Fame already starting next year, and some names have been discussed already and whatnot, and here we are, you know, still very close to 1 year away from that. I'm personally hoping that all of you guys go in together, because I think that would, you know, I mean, I don't see that the WWE is turning into Merv Griffin where they do theme shows right now. Here I am outdating myself. But obviously I think that you guys going in as an entity would only pay respect to all of you guys and for your aspects collectively, singularly, and together that you did for the WWE, for WCW, for the National Wrestling Alliance. But I'll ask yourself, Tully, do you think that we are going to see Rick have his last match at WrestleMania? And if indeed Vince brought the idea to the table to say, listen, I want you guys in the Hall of Fame, or I want Rick going in the Hall of Fame, and I want all you guys there to have a Horseman-themed weekend, would you be up for it?
Well, I signed a contract with the WWE 2 years ago to talk about personal appearances and action figures and stuff like that. So, you know, I mean, I'm basically still under contract with them, and certainly would talk to them about anything like that. I don't dislike JBL. You know, don't know JBL to dislike him or like him. You know, certainly didn't have a bang up first meeting, but you know, it is. I would be open for any of that, and whether the Hall of Fame is part of anything in the future, that's up to Vince. You can't say it's up to sports writers, and you can't say it's up to coaches or wrestling fans, but it would be up to Vince, you know, and it would be a great honor, but you don't know. So, did I answer the question, or did I just ramble?
Nope. I think that pretty much everything was answered on that particular respect. JJ, you know, Rick is obviously performing at a level right now that's probably better than half the current WWE roster, and even if you factor maybe individuals in total nonstop action wrestling as well. But do you think that
still out there?
Do you think that we are seeing the final days of Ric Flair, the performer right now, maybe a transitional period into Ric Flair, the backstage road agent, or Ric Flair, the retiree? I doubt we're going to see that, because if you remember the old school days of WCW, when we saw the retired Ric Flair, he was in Mental Home, and it led to some tremendous television on WCW television, of course, and that's, you know, maybe that could be Ric Flair in a couple of years without the television cameras, but who knows about that. Do you think that we are starting to see the final days of the Nature Boy right now? And I'll ask you the same question that I posed to Tully. Would you be up for a Horseman reunion, or more or less a Horseman induction into the WWE Hall of Fame come next April in Orlando?
Well, with Rick, you know, I would hate to think that Rick is still out there, because as you have pointed out, he's still better than you know whatever percentage you want to come up with, and you know, if you said he's still better than 75% of the guys in the business, you know, you could make a case for that. But there has to come a time when enough is enough, and Rick says this is it, and I hope that they give him the accolades that he deserves, and he goes out with some kind of fanfare. And if it's at WrestleMania next year, certainly a key event like that gets so much international exposure, would be a nice way to go out. If in conjunction with that, I don't have any kind of a contract with the WWE, and those of you that have read my autobiography know that I had a kind of a confrontational situation with Vince McMahon when I parted ways after working there for almost 8 years. Have never seen him or talked to him since. And I also feel, and this was kind of, I did some soul searching just to get involved in the Horseman DVD, but I felt that I owed it to the other guys. I felt I owed it to the fans that supported us so well for so long. And deep inside, with the telling of the story, I felt if the story is going to be told, I want to be a part of it, because I am proud of what we accomplished. Having said all that, if I got another phone call and somebody said, it's Ric Flair's last match, we're going to induct him in the Hall of Fame, we want to bring you guys with him or have you there as a special salute to him, I think I could put my differences aside for one night just to honor Rick and to give the Horsemen the next level of recognition that they deserve. So I think maybe the WWE might have more of a problem with it than I would, to be honest. But you never say never. There were people that thought the day would never come after Bret Hart spit in Vince's face at a pay-per-view in Montreal that having done something like that, there's no way that they could ever sit down at a table and have a conversation, let alone do business again. But one thing I will say about Vince, he always had a strong business side to him, that he put differences aside. If there was ever someone that he thought could contribute something to the business or meant something to the business, he could still do business with him, whether he personally liked him or not. So you never say never, and to be honest with you, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Tully, I got to throw a quick compliment your way. Obviously, doing the research that myself and my co-host Blade do. Whenever we have some solid guests on our program, every time that we're asked by our fans throughout the world, Mosh, Blade, who's your favorite tag team? Who's your favorite singles wrestler? Who's a better guy than this guy? I do have to say this. For all the old school fans of the WWE, going back to the late 80s and the early 90s, a lot of the classic matches with the Brain Busters, yourself and Arn obviously taking what you did in the National Wrestling Alliance to the WWE, one of the most underrated tag teams played, I know that you'll agree with me, of the late 80s and the early 90s. Some solid matches with Strike Force, the Rockers, and of course, Demolition, and a cheap show plug. Demolition smash Barry Darsow going to be on the program within 2 weeks, so it seems interesting to note how literally, 17, 18 years later...
I was wondering if you're headed into the direction of one of your fantasy warfare questions.
Well, actually, fantasy warfare did happen back in 1989.
Sure.
Barry Darsow, Tully Blanchard were in the exact same ring, but I just got to say, obviously know that all of you guys are remembered as being a part of the Four Horsemen, but you had different aspects of your career, Tully, and I just wanted to throw that quick compliment, the fact that I did admire, respect, and still watch to this day a lot of your matchups with Arn in the late 80s and the early 90s as part of the Brain Busters tag team.
Well, thank you for that, and I'm very, very honest with myself and with my analyzation of myself, and there was maybe, just to keep from being really egomaniac, there was maybe one tag team that might have been better than us in the history. I don't know who it is, but I'll leave that door open a little bit. But Arn and I were the best tag team around, simply because we could do anything with anybody. We could go out with the Rockers and fly. We could go with Barry Darsow and with I'm drawing a blank right now.
Bill Eadie.
Superstar Bill Eadie, and go out there and match them muscle for muscle. Go wrestle the Road Warriors, and the thing that sells it and separates it. I weighed 120 pounds. Arn weighed about 260. I weighed 220. Arn weighed 260, and 20,000 people bought tickets at Madison Square Gardens to watch that. Okay, if they didn't believe it, it wouldn't have sold out. So not very many people could do that. Not very many people could go out with Robert and Ricky and sell out and do an hour, and then go and do the same thing with Dusty and Luger. Okay, and you got to look at all sorts of stuff, and that's what we could do, and it was a diverse ability. JJ was there when we were with the Four Horsemen, and JJ, if I can tell you, you are the greatest, without a doubt, manager in professional wrestling. I don't know if I've ever told you that before, but you are, and you were, because JJ had the proper perspective of what it was. JJ wasn't